believing that God is a God of second chances, and through faith, all things are possible. Second Chance airs live each week from the beautiful campus of Oakwood University and features real people with real issues and offers real answers. And now, here's your host, Kenneth Anderson.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Second Chance radio broadcast. Kenny Anderson here, is always delighted to be here with you in the studio for the broadcast Second Chance. 33 plus years and counting. We come here every Sunday from 2 to 4 p.m. Central Standard Time to deliver a message of inspiration, a message of hope, and to provide you with information that we hope you will be able to use in a very beneficial way. It is the last Sunday of the month of February. And of course, all February long, we've had the emphasis on African American History Month, with the specific theme of 2024 being African Americans and the Arts. And on this coming Thursday evening, right here in Huntsville, Alabama, at the Harrison Center on Pulaski Pike, our very own Kevin Powell, 2024 Grammy-nominated Kevin Powell for Best Spoken Word Album, will join us right here in Huntsville for a conversation at the Harrison Center. It's being called One Night Only, and it's called Conversations with My Mother. And I should say grocery shopping with my mother. I'm getting conversations, everything all mixed up there. Grocery shopping with my mother. I apologize for that, Kevin. I got it all tongue-tied and twisted. But we hope you'll come out for this free event. It's going to take place beginning at 6 o'clock on this coming Thursday night. It is the final event for Black History Month that we will be supporting through the Office of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. And we hope that you'll take the time to come on out and be a part of it. Now, Kevin is going to have a book signing right after, as well as there will be a reception. Seating is limited, but we do have the Eventbrite information up so that you can register, and we kind of scale and kind of judge and guesstimate how many people will probably show up. But we hope that lots and lots and lots of you will take advantage of this opportunity to celebrate Black History Month and the big finale of this year's theme of African Americans and the Arts. Again, celebrating the establishment of the Mother Ernestine Fletcher Tibbs Memorial Scholarship at Alabama A&M University. It is the first endowed scholarship in the almost 50-year history of the Department of Social Work at Alabama A&M. And once again, to all of you who made contributions to the establishment of this scholarship that is named in honor of my mother-in-law, who passed on December 11th, 2022, we hope that you will definitely take advantage of that. I've had people since then say, hey, I didn't get it on the front end of that to make a contribution. Well, guess what? With these endowed scholarships, it's never too late, because this scholarship will provide opportunities for students in the social work department to benefit for years and years to come. And so the more we raise and the more we invest in this scholarship, the more people can benefit up on the Hill. Alabama A&M University, one of my two alma maters, and I'm so excited to be able to share that information with you on this afternoon. I want to dive right into our conversation because I've got a very special guest with me this afternoon, and I'm going to go ahead and introduce her at this time. In September 1963, right before Youth Sunday service, 14-year-olds Addie Mae Collins, Cynthia Wesley, Carol Robertson, and 11-year-old Denise McNair were in the basement of the 16th Street Baptist Church in Birmingham, Alabama. While they got ready for the service, the Klan planted dynamite under the staircase of the church, and the impact of the explosion completely obliterated the women's restroom in the basement where the 4 girls were located. Only a 5th girl, the sister of Collins, was discovered still alive in the rubble, but suffered permanent damage to her eyes. And of course, Spike Lee memorialized this story in a awesome documentary called Four Little Girls. This afternoon, I have a very special guest joining us, and she's looking all great over there in her red. You know, red is my favorite color, so you just got a couple of brownie points and cool points for that, Lisa.
All right.
Birmingham native Lisa McNair is the oldest living sister of Denise McNair, one of those four girls killed in the infamous bombing. Denise was an only child at the time of her death, and almost exactly 1 year from the day she was murdered, Lisa was born. Lisa McNair, welcome to the Second Chance radio broadcast.
Well, thank you very much for having me.
It's great to have you. And you, of course, came to our city back in January as part of the King Holiday. You were the guest speaker over at UAH. And, of course, my counterparts over there, Dr. Brian Samuel and his team, brought you to be the guest speaker. And I got to tell you something. Not only were you charismatic, not only were you very familial in terms of your presentation, but you are one awesome storyteller. And I wanted to make sure that I followed up with that amazing experience by inviting you on my platform. So thank you for accepting this invitation.
Well, thank you very much for your kind words. It was a joy and a pleasure to be there. I just love Huntsville. I have family up there. So when I was asked to come, I was like, yeah.
It all worked out and all fit together. Now, I should say that Lisa is the author of a book called Dear Denise, Letters to the Sister I Never Knew. And Lisa, of course, oh, look at that. She's holding one up right now, folks. Take a good look at that, and we'll tell you how you can get a copy of that a little bit later in the broadcast. But thank you for holding that up. You know, this is such a big story. And we have a little bit of time today, but of course, I'm going to have you come back on. But I want to start right here because I think it is somewhat noteworthy to say that it was 1 year after Denise's death that you were born. So you wrote this book clearly coming from a space of never having had that direct relationship through actually being, in that same space because she had already been killed. Talk to me a little bit about what motivated you to write this book.
Okay. Well, I, like you said, was born almost exactly to the day from the day she was killed. My parents had been trying to have other children, but my mother could never carry to term. So, they didn't know they'd have any more kids. So I was kind of a miracle baby. But Denise grew up in a segregated Alabama, and I grew up in a very integrated Alabama. And our parents put us in predominantly white private schools in elementary school. And I just knew very well, I was a very keen, aware student and child. And I knew that this experience was not like any that anybody had had. And being part of that first generation of African Americans to move freely through this country. And I knew that the story needed to be told about what I was really experiencing, what Dr. King's dream really looked like on its face. And so when I was 14, I wanted to write this book. And it's just been in my head and my heart ever since. But I didn't put pen to paper for the very first time until 2006. The first time.
Yeah, talk to me a little bit about the impact of Denise's death on your parents, because that, of course, I think was perhaps one of the first levels of impact as related to this in the midst of that tragedy. What was that impact like for them?
Oh, it was horrible. They raised us well. They didn't, bemoan about it a lot, but it was something that they carried all the time. My mother would cry, and you would know that, you go to church, people cry, they say they full. Well, you would know that full cry from the cry of grief. And so she would take us to the cemetery from time to time when we were little. And sometimes she'd cry, or sometimes she'd just stand and be thinking. But it was never, far away from us. There's a picture of Denise in our living room that's been there all my life. And on the anniversary of her death or anniversary of her birthday, were always solemn days around here.
I want to ask you an extension of that, too, because we're witnesses to history. We see these stories. We talk about these things. But you're directly connected to this tragedy. And I can only imagine that it does have a different feel for you than it would for most people because you
Hmm.
were more directly affected by it. I want you to first of all talk about that. And then I want you to share a little bit of context about the other families that were impacted by this tragedy.
Okay. Well, yeah, it is weird. And people always ask me, what's it like? And it's very strange and very odd because something happened to your family that was a historical thing. It was on TV and everybody knew about it, but it happened to your family, but you weren't born. So you have that hanging over you all the time, or that bit of notoriety about it. But it's very weird. You see it on TV or see documentaries and they talk about the girls, and you think, oh, that's sad. But then, that's us. That was my mom and my dad. So, very weird and odd to have that be who you are. But then also, now that I'm older and I do public speaking and I've written the book, it's my lot in life too, and my sisters, to make sure that we honor our parents, we honor Denise, and that their names are never forgotten, of the four girls, and that they are keep being put in the history books. So it's
Mm.
very important to do that. About the other families, so we got to know some of the other families more than we got to know others of the families. I've gotten to know the Collins family, Sarah and her sister Junie. Sarah was the fifth girl in the bathroom that day who lost her eye, and lost her sister Addie Mae. But for years we were very close to the Robertson families. My mom was a teacher, so three of the parents who were of kids who were killed were educators. The
Mm.
Wesley was a principal, and his wife was a teacher. My mom was a school teacher, and my dad was a teacher at that time. And then Mrs. Robinson was a librarian. So they all knew each other. They were very close, other than at church and, you know, in their professions. So we stay close and keep up with them. We kind of got a little separated back in the day, but after Spike did the Four Little Girls documentary, that gave us the opportunity to really bond and get close as families of the four girls.
Lisa, something that people talk about all the time when this type of a tragedy strikes a family is the element of closure. And they kind of
Mm.
talk to people and ask that question, do you have closure? Have you been able to gain closure? And I want to be sensitive to the experience that you had, but not just simply asking you, do you have closure? Because I'm not really sure what that would mean, because closure kind of suggests some kind of an ending.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
Denise was killed.
yeah,
Three other little girls were killed. So there's no
yeah.
changing that. And so,
Right.
how have you processed this over the years personally in terms of your own mental health and well being?
Wow, that's a good question. That's a good question. You know, as an adult, I think about it more and deal with it more than I ever dealt with it when I was younger.
Hmm.
It was the thing that happened to my family. But as I've gotten older, I've learned that it affected so many people, friends of hers. Because you imagine if you were a little girl and that was Denise was your best friend, and then she don't come back to school and then she's dead. That's horrific. So just learning about how it affected other people around me, has given me a sensitivity to them, but also there's a sadness knowing that they would have had a friend or a family member that they would still be talking to had some evil people not taken their lives.
Hmm.
So that's something that I think about often. As far as closure, I think we were all grateful that the men who were still alive were finally convicted of their murders. The first one in 1977, which was 14 years after the murder, and then the last two in 2001 and 2002. But so that was good. We got justice, but we didn't get Denise back. And there'll
Hmm.
always be an empty space and a hole. What life would have been like if she lived. Would she have gotten married? Would she have had kids? Would I have been an auntie? When I've been a bridesmaid or maid of honor in her wedding. What advice would she have given me on dating and being supportive of me? It's just little things that you could never put a period on. So it's always like a little open sore that covers up, but it's not fully healed.
Yeah. I got a chance to, for several years, attend an amazing conference that was done by that was hosted at the 16th Street Baptist Church, as well as that tremendous facility right across the street, the Civil Rights Museum. I'm sorry, the Birmingham Civil Rights Museum and our center. And I saw at one of those sessions Attorney General Baxter. And I have to tell you, I don't throw the word hero around lightly. But when I looked and saw him standing in this audience in the church, the very church where this tragedy took place, I felt that I needed to be as close to him as possible. And I walked up to him. I don't presume these things often whenever I see a celebrity of sorts. And I said, Mr. Baxley, I just simply want to say thank you. May I take a photo with you? And we took this picture. So I've got this picture now that I treasure because of who he is. Can you talk a little bit about what Attorney General Baxley represents to you personally and to your family?
Oh man, I don't even know that I have all the right words. We just love Bill. He did something for other human beings who lost their loved one in a senseless murder, but he did something as a human being that was so important. And as a Southerner, I'm sure he got lots of backlash for opening the trial and bringing the first person to justice. But the fact that he knew the wrongness of one person doing this to another human being in our legal system, in our world, in our country, that he wanted to make that right. To me, this makes him a superhero. Like you said, I mean, he really is a rock star in my book. And because he didn't have to do that. He really didn't have to do that. But he knew what was right. Like my mom used to always say, right is right and right don't wrong nobody. He did the right thing. And I just love him. I see him from time to time, socially out, we're at a place and I always hug him and speak and check on his family. When Daddy was alive, they would talk often. But it's just so sweet. I'll tell you a little story. When I was 25, my sister was turning 25. I took her and our first cousin Nedrick, who lives in Huntsville, to lunch at this really nice, expensive restaurant in Birmingham. And she had never been. And so that was her lunch, and Bill Baxley was there. And so I went up to him and said, hey, when we got there, and hugged him. And then they put us to our seats. So we had our food, we ate, and we're waiting for the bill, and nobody's bringing the bill or the check. And so I finally waved the waitress down and asked for the bill. I said, we're ready to go. And she was like, oh, the check has been taken care of. Mr. Baxley took care of your whole bill. Never said a word. Never said a word. Now, this was not Applebee's. This was one of them places where you go by yourself, it could be $100. And you got people. Yeah.
Wow. It says a lot about his character. It says a lot about the person that I've come to know as a true hero. And I'm even qualifying it as an American hero. That's fine. Yeah. But the issue of his directing the legal system towards righteousness and justice is such a powerful thing. And I celebrate his life and his legacy as well. I wanted to ask you this before I ask you a little bit more about the book, Lisa. Where do you think we are today in the context of the civil rights movement? We oftentimes, again, talk about how people died and sacrificed their lives. Your sister did in that process. So many more of the pioneers did during that time. And we sometimes question the fact about whether or not it's viable to vote or relevant to vote and move towards social change and social justice in our society today. As you look around the landscape of our nation, the state, where do you think we are in terms of these matters today?
I'm nervous. We have a lot to do. we have a lot of homework to do, have a lot of things to learn about, and I'm worried that the powers that be that were evil during that time, that whole spirit of racism and racist stuff, is rearing its ugly head and could possibly, bring us back to where we were before. And I think in part is we don't know our history. Like me, people my age, and my parents, they know, but then it almost seems like we missed a couple of generations, and the young people just know so much, and they don't put that in the school books like they should. And then the apathy is probably worse than the lack of knowledge. I think if people had knowledge, then they would not be apathetic. But if I had one more person say, well, I don't know if I'm gonna vote, or I don't think my vote is important, or oh, that person is boring and I don't think I want to vote for him because he's old. I mean, I'm gonna like lose it. I'm gonna go crazy. I'm not gonna go crazy, but I'm gonna go completely off on you and tell like it's not gonna be pretty for you. And because it's so important that it's like, you got to get your driver's license renewed every 4 years. You got to pay your tag on the month you was born every year. You got to get your oil change in your car. Basic things, pay your water, gas, power bill every month, and your phone. Voting should be right on that list with all those things that you have to do. And pay attention to our public officials. See what they're voting on. Everything is online now. You can read and check that. You can go to Congress and sit and listen. You can put it up online. You can go to Montgomery and listen to our politicians. You can go online and see what they should have been voting. We need to continue to pay attention. We've gotten comfortable. Sure, we've had a lot of victories. We can do a lot of things. You and I are in that room at UAH sitting with a mixed crowd. I was the speaker. 60 years ago, that could never have happened here in Alabama. But that's the point. If we don't stay focused, if we don't share with our young people, if we don't go out and vote, we will be back picking cotton. I'm not picking cotton, y'all. I'm just going to be frank and tell you, I'm not going to be doing that. I'm leaving. I'm out. But, we got to stay focused. The war has not been completely won yet. We are still in the fight.
Yeah, it's a lot of work to do. The book is called Dear Denise, Letters to the Sister I Never Knew. It was written by the author, who I'm speaking to right now, civil rights activist Lisa McNair, the sister of Denise McNair. And tell me a little bit about this book. A couple of things. Who did you write this book for in that authentic voice that you brought to this particular arena? And then as people read this book, what is the message, or what are the messages that you hope people will take from it?
I've been asked that before, and it's a challenging question because I think anybody can read this book and glean something from it that they need to do, or that they need to that they can reach out on in their life. But initially, I wrote this book for African-American young people who were in integrated spaces, and they were the severe minority in these integrated spaces, because the impetus from the book came from when our parents put us in a predominantly white private school. And I was there from the second to the 8th grade when we graduated. And what happened, unbeknownst to me, is I embraced the white culture because I was in school and around white people all day. And so I embraced that, which is not uncommon, being that's where you were all day. But because I didn't have as much connection with my Black friends, Black family, Black relatives, I lost that close piece of my Blackness. I didn't know what was happening. I didn't know how that. All I just know, one day I woke up. I didn't know what Black people were saying. I didn't know any of the slang. I sounded like a Black white girl. I didn't know any of the dances, and I didn't know how to figure out how to go back and get what I'd missed. And that just kind of went on for years, because how do you go back and pick that up? It's like, excuse me, hello, can somebody explain to me how to be Black today? It's just not how you do it. I did have my very best friend, Wendy Horn. We've been best friends since 1st grade. Anytime I'd have to go to a party or something, I'd go to her house because she'd been in Black schools the whole time. And I was like, what are Black people saying? What are the dances? And he's like, I can only stay an hour, but I'm gonna need you to help me fill in because I'm gonna die here if I go to this party my mama's making me go to. So and so I wrote the book for other people who were having that experience. Because even when I was older and my friends had kids that were going off to college, they would make comments that they're so different from me, that we moved to a white neighborhood, they're going to white kids. I don't know how they're going to be or what that's going to be like. So I wrote it for them. They were the first people I wrote it for, but it's so much to glean out of that on race relations, on the inside look at our family's grief, on how we can come together as human beings and love one another. So it's written for everybody, really.
Yeah, that's good to know, because we want you to tell people how they can become more acquainted with this book. Where can they find it? I know that you're out there speaking and available to come and talk to various groups about your messaging. Tell us a little bit about those elements of the work that you're immersed in at this time.
Okay. Well, I do travel the country and I speak to corporate America, colleges, churches, conventions, meetings, and talking about the bombing and how our family chose love instead of hate, and how we can do that and use that to make our country a better place. And so the book, I do talk about that and use stories from my life in the book that can help others to do the same. Also, I started doing something new. A couple people asked me to speak at their book club. And although I don't get paid, but I get on the road at a book club, but I thought either doing a Zoom at a book club or going to someone's house's book club, I could also share this book and share intimately about how we can be better people. So I can do the book club thing, and just we're all more alike than we are different. My dad used to always say we were all human beings. And at the end of the day, that's true. And everybody can relate to this story as how we really need to stand up for what's right and squash racism when we hear it and when we see it. Because nobody would want 4 little girls to be killed on a Sunday morning in the church.
That's right. The book is called Dear Denise, Letters to the Sister I Never Knew. There it is.
Yep.
You should be over here on the live feed right now. First of all, folks, if you're just listening on the radio, if you're listening on the internet, that's not enough. You got to get over to Praise 90.1 FM and check out the live feed right now. Lisa's in effect right now. She got this beautiful red outfit on, too. That's my favorite color. So she just gets carte blanche treatment, and she gets an open invitation to come back and join us. Lisa, how can people reach out to you? You must have a social media presence, website, and more.
Sure. I'm on Lisa S. McNair on Facebook, Lisa.S.McNair on Instagram. I have a website, www.speaklisa.com. And so you can check all of that out and reach out to me, book me. And I have a number of speeches. I don't have a YouTube page, but it looks like every time I go and speak, they're like, can we record you and put it on YouTube? So yeah, so you type Lisa McNair, it just comes up all over the place. So.
All right.
And your books can be purchased on Amazon or at your local bookstore.
All right, folks. It's called Dear Denise, Letters to the Sister I Never Knew. And there's the author, Lisa McNair. Lisa, you've been a fantastic guest. It won't be the last invitation to this platform. As I've said very seriously, you have an open invitation to come anytime you want.
I would love that. Thank you so very much.
All right.
This has been delightful.
Absolutely. And this is just the beginning of the story.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll talk to you soon.
All right. Thank you. Take care.
All right. Take care. Lisa McNair joining us this afternoon. What a pleasure and a privilege to have her on the broadcast, starting things off for us this afternoon. And we, of course, are going to continue the broadcast in just a few moments with some more guests who are coming up shortly. I'm Kenny Anderson. It's Second Chance. I hope that you're having a great afternoon.
Just as I am without one plea, but that thy blood was shed for me.
go to school with your children. We say the Pledge of Allegiance together. I'm one out of every 4 children in America, and I'm struggling with hunger. I'm lucky to grow up where I could be whatever I want. I want to grow up and be someone who doesn't go to bed hungry. Please visit feedingamerica.org today and find your local food bank. Every dollar you donate helps provide 7 meals for kids like me. Together, we're Feeding America. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Transforming
lives.
You're listening to Second Chance with Kenneth Anderson.
Welcome back to the broadcast. I hope that you are enjoying the conversations this afternoon, and they're just beginning, folks, and they just get better and better as we move throughout the afternoon. Thank you again to Lisa McNair. She's the author of Dear Denise, Letters to the Sister I Never Knew. And I hope that you'll definitely take some time to check it out and find out more about what Lisa has to say about that very tragic day and what she has learned along the way. Catherine Coleman Flowers is an internationally recognized environmental activist, MacArthur Genius Grant recipient, and author. She has dedicated her life's work to advocating for environmental justice, primarily equal access, to clean water and functional sanitation for communities across the United States. She's the founder of the Center for Rural Enterprise and Environmental Justice. She spent her career promoting equal access to clean water, air, sanitation, and soil to reduce health and economic disparities in marginalized rural communities. And of course, she's so much more, but I do want to mention that in 2023, she was recognized as one of Time's 100 most influential people in the world and was featured on Forbes' over 50 list. And Catherine, I think you're the first guest I've had on the show who carries those heavyweight credentials. My friend, Catherine, how are you doing this afternoon?
I'm doing fine, Kenny. How are you?
I'm doing great. You know, I've been trying to snag you for this show for a long time, so I feel like this is a really huge moment for me. Thank you for finding the time in your very hectic and busy schedule to join me for a conversation this afternoon.
Well, if I was going to do it with anyone, I was going to do the show with you. So thank you so much for inviting me.
Oh, you're so gracious. First of all, I don't want to bury the headline. We're going to talk about some amazing things that you're doing in the space that you do it in. But I want to once again say to you, thank you for choosing this community as your residence. That was just mind-blowing to me when we first met, in fact, and understood that was something you were thinking about. But it is amazing that you've been here now for a period of time and you've been able to kind of do the many things that you're doing, and even more so, I think, since you've been here. How has the experience of being in this community been for you thus far?
Well, it's been very pleasant. I think that we made the right choice. First of all, to come to the city that has the second largest research park, in the United States was amazing. Also, the fact that there's so many engineers and scientists here that can help us focus on innovation. And we thought that what a better place to be than be here. If we were going to leave the area that's part of Alabama's Black Belt and go someplace, we need to at least go to the place that could keep the astronauts alive, in outer space, that they may be able to help us solve some of these problems that we're dealing with as we deal with climate change, infrastructure, and certainly the lack of access to working infrastructure around sanitation.
Yeah, my first guest, Lisa McNair, of course, was in the space of social justice. You're in the space of environmental justice, which is an element of social justice. There are bookends in many ways, and there's certainly lots of points of intersection. I want to ask you first and foremost, for the benefit of our listening audience, how did you come into this space? Is this a space that you found, or did this space find you?
I think it found me. Growing up in the country, not in a country, in the country, in the countryside where we grew up, and a lot of people had access to running water and some didn't. Many people at the time when I grew up didn't have access to working bathrooms inside of their homes. And when I left and I went away, I thought when I came back and I would visit the area that things would have changed, and it had not. And then when I actually moved back and I tried to do economic development in 2000, I found that without infrastructure, it's hard to do. And in the process of trying to do the type of economic development, because the economic development paradigm is that you bring in businesses, and these businesses are supposed to provide jobs and a tax base. But that can't happen without infrastructure. And we found out that people in the community, residents, were being arrested at that time because they didn't have access to sanitation. And that's where I really got involved, because I had to learn about this. I heard the side from the state about why they were doing that. But then I also need to hear the side from the families who were suffering to understand why they were in that state. And it kind of found me, and in that process, I realized that we were not going to advance without having the type of infrastructure that's needed to attract clean businesses to those areas. And then as time went on, I learned that it was not just a Lowndes County problem, it's in all 67 counties in this state, but also across this country. There are problems with infrastructure. And along the way, I saw an inconvenient truth that talked about Al Gore and the whole fight around climate change. And I saw that the reason that these designs were failing was because they were designed for another time and not taking into account climate change. And that's how environmental justice seemed to have found me.
Yeah, it's a really fascinating area that I certainly have taken a greater interest in over the years. And of course, since we've been chatting about a lot of things, got a chance to go to an amazing conference that you had earlier, or rather late last year. It's an amazing thing to have an opportunity to really assess these elements of our lives that are really very basic and very essential. You know, same way that we talk about the essentials of education and access to healthcare and employment and housing and other kinds of things, you have these sort of parallel things going on. You need clean air. You need clean water. You need clean energy. You need things that are out there that can help create sustainability across the spectrum of our lives, but yet these things are abused in so many ways, discounted and discredited by so many people. And I wonder, from your perspective, as you hear people sort of negating this conversation about climate change and some of the other things that people are pushing back against, what do you think? Do you think this is just simply a political thing, an environment that's been created that brings about those kinds of uncomfortable conversations for many people? What do you think from your perspective? Because you're fairly well immersed in the area and have seen a lot of things. What do you think the pushback comes from?
The pushback comes from, what I've learned to do is follow the money. And whenever the money is cut out or people think that they're going to lose out as a result, that's where the pushback comes from. A lot of what is happening, the pushback against renewable energy and climate change, has been funded by people in the fossil fuel industry because they want to benefit from the way things have been. I mean, think about it. Everything we have in our homes is basically a byproduct of the fossil fuel industry. Every plastic that we have, maybe components that we use in our homes, we heat, we use natural gas, or we have to put gas in our cars. So that's where a lot of the pushback is coming from. But I think that there's balance. We have to have a just transition. But we're in a point where, they said that if the temperature rose by 2 degrees Celsius and we're at 1.5 now, that the weather is going to change so much, it's going to be catastrophic. And then some of the pushback is religious. There are those people that believe, they believe in revelations. They believe that, the world is coming to an end. But what I saw in Revelations, that God was going to destroy it. Not that we were going to destroy it, but with this, we're destroying it. And we're destroying it with our habits and the things that we have grown accustomed to it. And consequently, there's going to be pushback because we have to change. But I think that we can change. We can change. We have to have the will to change. But the pushback is so strong because people don't know what to believe anymore. You know, if even recently there was a multi-million-dollar PR campaign that's been launched by the fossil fuel industry to keep us using fossil fuels, but humanity is at stake.
Yeah.
And whether or not there is going to be a livable planet. And I used to think that it was going to be for generations to come. But if we don't change, it may not be there during our generation, because what is happening, the ice caps are melting, diseases are escaping that we don't have cures for. We're seeing diseases that could live in the global south or moving further north. Sea level is rising. Insurance companies are not even writing policies in areas now that flood over and over and over again. Mm-hmm. And in our area where we live, I've never lived in a place before where a selling point for a house was to have a storm shelter. Mm-hmm. I thought that was Oklahoma and Kansas, but that's North Alabama.
Yeah.
So those are the realities, but the pushback is coming from the fact that there's going to be a shift. If you shift from dirty energy to clean energy, there's going to be some new billionaires, and the ones that already have these that already are making money want to continue to make money, but we have to be able to change. But I think we also have an opportunity to have a more equitable economic system as we plan out what this shift is going to look like and who's going to be a part of it and who will benefit from it.
Where do you draw optimism from in the midst of these challenges? Because it can't be easy, but you have to find a way to continue to remain motivated and engaged. What do you do to create that optimism and hope in your own experience?
Well, first of all, I'm a believer. I do believe in God. I believe in spirituality, and I believe that I'm in this place for a reason. I feel that this is my mission and my calling. My calling is to speak on behalf of people that can't speak for themselves, and to use my megaphone to pass it to them so they can tell their stories, because I think that most people are good. They just don't know that these issues exist. And when they find out about it, they want to get on board to try to change it. So I'm optimistic about the human spirit surviving. I'm optimistic because I'm a grandmother. And one of the things that I learned from being around my indigenous brothers and sisters is that we have to live in such a way that we think about the seventh generation. And as I see young people get involved and engaged about saving the planet and making it more livable for future generations, that's where I draw my optimism.
Where do you think people are perhaps best served by trying to better understand the environmental justice mission? And what is it that you think that people don't really know or understand about the journey? And I'm kind of asking that because the conference that I attended here in Huntsville almost presented, let me put it this way. It presented a very realistic picture of where we are, but it also acknowledged the fact that if we keep moving in this direction, then we will reach a point of no return. And all the good faith and good hope that one might direct towards the process won't even help us. So my question again is, what do you think people don't see or don't get about this journey? And what could you say to maybe help them become more connected to this concern?
Well, I think you're talking about two things. I think you're talking about environmental justice and you're talking about climate change.
Yeah.
So let me first of all break down environmental justice. Environmental justice means that when the dirty plants are built, it's put in the poor communities. It's put in the communities where people don't have a voice. That's environmental justice. When we talk about climate change, it impacts all of us. It impacts all of us. And where environmental justice and climate change intersect is that when these dirty plants that are polluting, I'll use an example. Louisiana, when I went through Cancer Alley in Louisiana, it's like I described it. I was taken on a trip through this area of Cancer Alley by General Russell Honore. General Honore was the hero of Katrina, who went in and really rebuilt New Orleans after Katrina. But it was like the Disney World of petrochemical plants.
Mm.
And what was so interesting about them is they were all from multinational companies.
Mm.
And most of their owners weren't even in the US.
Mm.
And they were sitting on land that had been former plantations that were sold by absentee landowners. And there were, in some cases, they built these plants on places where African-American cemeteries were, and they had to get permission to go and visit the graves of their ancestors. That's environmental justice. Environmental justice is also an issue where, even in our own area, where sanitation and infrastructure was put in place for a business, and the African-American community has been asking for it for years and didn't get it. But the new development gets it, and the business gets it. That's environmental justice. That's environmental injustice. Climate change, on the other hand, is when that polar vortex reaches down so far that we have ice on the ground and we're seeing unprecedented changes in the weather over a period of time. That's climate change. Climate change is when there is a fire in Canada and you smell the smoke in North Alabama. That's climate change. And wildfires, although they're happening in California and everywhere else, they can happen here too. But unfortunately for some people, they're going to have to be made believers because it has to happen to them. But I think that for those of us, especially in this area, that believe in science and know that something has changed, that we need to be able to at least become more resilient. And the other part is you have billionaires who are trying to go to another planet. Why? Because they know what's happening here. Mm. So we have to, but we can't go. At least I don't plan to go. So in the meantime, what I plan to do with the time that I have here on earth is make sure that at least my grandchildren and the children to come after that will have a place where they can live and breathe clean air, drink clean water, and not have to be dying from diseases that were preventable because we couldn't break our fossil fuel habit.
Yeah. These are serious challenges, and I wonder what your thoughts are about the current administration's role in this conversation and the support that you have received, and the potential that there could be an administrative change in November that may signal a different direction.
Well, we have to fight no matter who's in office. You know, I come from Lowndes County, Alabama, which is home of the original Black Panther Party. My parents were activists then. I guess my grandchildren may have to be activists too. So, but in terms of this administration and the support that we've gotten lots of support from this administration. We've hosted the Secretary of Agriculture, Mitch Landrieu, who is the advisor to the president, has also been to Lowndes County with us. Michael Regan has been more than once. And actually there's a recent Time magazine article where Michael Regan, as he talks about environmental justice, he referenced us and what we're doing in Lowndes County. So, and I even had the opportunity to go to the White House, visit with the president in the Oval Office and introduce him when he signed the executive order on climate change, the executive order on environmental justice in April of last year. So to be a country girl from Lowndes County and to be in the same company as a person that I've seen most of my life when he was Senator Biden and now President Biden, and to even entertain and have a conversation with him about Lowndes County, I think it's spectacular. And it's one of those reasons I still have faith. I have faith that no matter which administration is in office, they want to survive too. And I think that it will still be our role to remind them and to be messengers, about how we need to deal with climate change. We got to draw the carbon out of the air. That's the conference that you attended when we talked about carbon removal. We're going to have to do that because the legacy carbon is still there, and it's still going to cause the planet to have these extreme weather events. And I don't believe that even with the change in administration, that there won't be people there pushing that administration to deal with what we all have to deal with. If not, Mother Nature is going to teach us a lesson over and over and over again until we learn it.
Yeah. What are you working on right now that you can tell us about?
Well, we are launching a water and sanitation innovation center. And our goal is to be the bridge between the scientific and engineering community and people that are actually living with these failed systems, failed sanitation systems, and see what we can come up with. We could build something that could work and replace what we currently have, because we know that it's failing around the country and around the world. I went to Jackson, Mississippi in November, and the next day I was traveling to Dubai. What I saw in Jackson was you have the Pearl River and all of this water, but the people can't drink it. When I went to the Dubai, in the UAE, that's a desert, I mean, I saw all of this innovation. And the reason why they have all the innovation, because you never don't hear the excuse over there, it costs too much. And that's what we do here. We say it costs too much. So we're hoping to bridge those gaps. And I'm building out my team at the Center for Rural Enterprise and Environmental Justice so we can work on those innovations and hopefully be able to demonstrate some of them in the next 2 to 3 years. We have some big partnerships that we're going to be announcing them, not right now, but I'll probably come back on your show and do it. And we also are hoping that, and I have a book that I just finished. The title of my book is 30 Pieces of Silver. Ooh. And it's a book of essays, and they're personal essays, but it is kind of a testament to my spirituality and my belief in terms of Christianity. And it talks about a lot of different things. There's even a chapter on Huntsville. Oh, yeah, there's a chapter on Huntsville and why we think Huntsville is significant, how we moved here, why we moved here, but going all the way back to, the end of World War II and von Braun, and how von Braun, although he came from Nazi Germany, ended up being someone to support civil rights. And even with the large German population, Huntsville itself was one of the first areas. It was the first to desegregate schools in the state of Alabama. Mm-hmm. So I think that Huntsville, the story of Huntsville itself, is a story of transformation. Mm. And it shows that people can change and do good things. Yeah. So that's why I wanted to write a story about Huntsville in this book. This book is going to come out February of next year. So,
all right. So yeah. You've given me at least 2 additional opportunities to have you back. The first one is to tell us about all that good stuff that you can't tell us right now. And the second one is about the book that's coming out next year. And in between then, Catherine, I'm going to squeeze in 3 or 4 more other opportunities because you are certainly a wealth of knowledge. I wanted to ask you real quickly, because we've got about 3.5 minutes, and I want you to give people information about how to get connected to you. But if somebody's listening this afternoon and they want to just get involved, they don't quite know where to start, and they want to kind of connect the dots, what would you say to them?
I would tell them to go to the website for the Climate Reality Project if they want to get involved in terms of climate change. Climate Reality Project was founded by Al Gore, who is our neighbor just north of us in Carthage, Tennessee. But that way they can get climate training and figure out what's their best role in terms of action to deal with issues around climate change. If they want to get connected with us, our website is www.creej.org. They can go there and email us. They can also follow me on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and the new one, they just Threads. We're on all of those. So you can reach out to us any of those ways and we'll get back in touch with you.
So a little something that I learned recently and just chatting with Catherine was that we were both in attendance at the grand opening of the EGI, the Equal Justice Initiative in Montgomery a few years back. And I was just talking about all the excitement and the great buzz that was in the place. What an extraordinary experience that was to be there. And she asked me about the conversation on the stage with Vice President Gore. And she said, well, I was the person on the stage with him. I said, get out of here. It was a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful experience. Didn't know I would get the chance to know this awesome and amazing and phenomenal woman so many years later, or just a few years later, actually. But Catherine is an absolute American and national and international treasure, and you really need to get connected with her. So, Catherine, thank you for joining me this afternoon. I look forward to additional conversations virtually and in person.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
All right. Have a great day.
You too. Bye-bye.
All right, folks, I tell you, the beat just goes on and on and on, and that's because this broadcast is designed to be a blessing to someone. Catherine Coleman Flowers, once again, is an internationally recognized environmental activist, MacArthur Genius Grant recipient, and author. And in 2023, she was recognized as one of Time's 100 most influential people in the world and was featured on Forbes 50 over 50 list. And she lives right here in this community. So we love having Catherine, and we love being a part of her life. And we look forward to some amazing things with her in the future. I'm going to come back in just a moment and tell you about a big health equity conference that's coming to the city of Huntsville. And I'll do that in just a moment. If you guys hold tight, I promise you, you don't want to miss it. I'll be back in just a moment with more of the broadcast. I'm Kenny Anderson. It's Second Chance. I hope that you're having an absolutely fantastic and amazing day.
Praise 90.1 FM for guidance.
When you can't see a way.
For inspiration.
Take complete control of me.
For upliftment. Giving you continuous reasons to praise, we're Praise 90.1 FM.
Transforming lives.
You're listening to Second Chance with Kenneth Anderson.
Welcome back to the broadcast on this beautiful Sunday afternoon. It's the Second Chance radio broadcast. If you're just joining us halfway in, we have had some great conversations thus far. Author Lisa McNair joining us. She is the sister of Denise McNair, one of the 4 little girls who were killed in the Birmingham bombing in 1963. Catherine Coleman Flowers has joined us today. And of course, she is my favorite leader on the forefront of fighting for environmental justice and also some elements of climate control. Up next are some guests that will share some exciting information about how we can really take care of our bodies. And I hope that everybody has that in mind. You know, anytime I go into a new year, I hear a lot of resolutions, and it's February the 25th today, folks. So I hope that you guys haven't fallen off the wagon just yet. You still got another 200 plus days to go in the year before that happens. Maybe in 300 something. I'm getting all mixed up because I know it's a leap year. Joining me this afternoon is Columbus Batiste. Columbus is hey, Columbus, how you doing, brother?
Hey, I'm well. How are you?
Just fine. You were on the bottom half of the screen here, so I couldn't see you, but thanks to my executive assistant, Nisi, she helped me out there. So that's why I stuttered for a second. I said, oh, is he there? There you are, my brother. Listen, Dr. Batiste is the co-founder of Healthy Heart Nation, and he's not helping other people within the medical space and the health education space learn more about how to do the right thing with their heart. He's on the Second Chance Show talking about really great conferences that are coming up. So thank you for joining us today.
Oh, it's my pleasure. It's good to be here.
Also joining us today, Danette Batiste. You may notice something about the last names, folks. Yes, they do know each other. Hey, Danette, how you doing?
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing great. It's good to see you this afternoon. Danette currently serves as Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Manager for Soft Choice, a multi-billion-dollar information technology IT company headquartered in Toronto, Canada, that serves North America. And of course, we're so glad to have her. She was here the last time to talk about this event. I'm not going to talk about Dr. Batiste and where he was, but let's just say he was serving his fellow men and women at that time, so he could not be with us. I'm just so excited to have him here today because he rounds out the conversation in a wonderful way, as does my next guest as well. Dr. Scott Stoll is with us this afternoon, and Dr. Stoll was with us the last time. Hey, Scott, what's going on, man?
Hey, Kenny. It's so good to see you and great to be back.
It's good to see you, too. You know, anytime you make a return visit on the Second Chance platform, it makes me feel I must have done something right.
Absolutely. We're delighted to be here. And I love your orange tie, by the way. That is awesome.
It's kind of popping, isn't it?
I love it.
You see, if people aren't on the live stream right now, they're really missing a treat. So hop on over to the live stream, folks. Praise 90.1 FM on YouTube or Second Chance. And make sure that you check out what's happening on Facebook as well. Praise 90.1 FM. Scott is a board-certified physician specializing in sports and regenerative musculoskeletal medicine, and he's recognized as an international leader in lifestyle medicine and whole food plant-based nutrition. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the broadcast.
Thank you.
Great.
I am excited because you are here because of a phenomenal event that's about to take place right here in a city that I'm just honored to be a part of. I'm just so thrilled to live in Huntsville, Alabama, because all the best stuff happens right here in this city. And of course, this is just one more example of it. It's called the HELP Conference, HELP Conference. And HELP is an acronym for Health, Equity, and Lifestyle Project. It's going to take place on March the 24th through the 26th, which may sound a little familiar to some people because that's the lead-in to Easter weekend. And this team of individuals is going to get you ready for that moment and make sure you can take some things away from that experience that you will never forget and will be transformational and life-changing. Folks, this is going to be, as a lot of people say today, this is going to be dope.
That's right.
Dr. Batiste, tell us, since you didn't get a chance the last time to really, get a little bit of the love here in terms of what we provide for the Second Chance audience, talk to me a little bit about why this conference should matter to people.
Well, first, thank you so much for having us on to kind of go ahead and discuss this conference and everything. This is such an important opportunity for us. I'll tell you, one of the things that struck me here recently as I was kind of talking about the conference and then practicing in medicine is I realized that 10% of health maybe occurs inside the hospital walls when I'm wearing these scrubs and I see patients. I believe 90% of what happens in terms of achieving health happens in the community. And so it's so important to bring health to the community and for us to have relationships. We're never going to be able to make that success happen without collaborations with community-based organizations. And so that's why this is such an important conference. We wanted to come to Huntsville because, like you said, Huntsville is the place to be. Now, I don't live in Huntsville. I'm stuck in old sunny California, which isn't very sunny right now. It's not very sunny. It's raining out here. But I'm going to tell you, we know you guys got like the best place to live in the United States and the second best place to live. And I believe that you have some hidden blue zone like communities inside of Huntsville. And that's why we wanted to come there, not only to shine a light on what you all are doing right, but also about how you're an oasis amidst what I like to call the heart attack belt down south. And so I think there's a phenomenal opportunity for us all to come together in this conference.
Yeah, and Danette, you and I are in the DEI space, so we get real excited about drawing diverse people into the conversation and acknowledging that as human beings, we all have some basic fundamental rights. I believe one of those basic fundamental rights involves education, not just the formal educational system where we go to school and learn kinds of things, things that are important for us to know, but things that we really get to benefit from these kinds of basic, formal, and informal conversations that can make a profound impact on our lives. So talk to me a little bit about why this conference excites you from the DEI perspective.
Yes, and Kenny, again, thank you so much for this opportunity, and thank you for all the help that you have made, that you have put forth in this conference. And I am extremely excited, especially for our Tuesday sessions that we're having, where we're doing just that. We've been able to, with your help, really connect with the universities and colleges in the Huntsville area. So we're going to have a panel that is going to include Oakwood University, Alabama A&M, UAH, Calhoun, and Drake. And what we're going to do is to bring those organizations, universities together to have a conversation around how do we position this diversity, this equity, this inclusion as it relates to healthcare for the future generations, for those that are coming up and learning how to provide healthcare services to the community. And how do we do it in a way that is going to be inclusive, right? And that is going to be informative, and that is going to be focused not just on problems, but also on how you can provide solutions. So in that regard, from a diversity, equity, inclusion space, it's really important for us to have the conversations together and to look to build solutions together. And so that is one of the things I'm extremely excited about.
Dr. Stoll, when I introduce you as an expert in whole food, plant-based nutrition, and that automatically creates some questions in my mind. And I want to give you kind of a two-tiered question. The first question is very similar to what I asked my last guest. Did this experience, did this space find you, or did you find this space? So this conversation about whole food, plant-based nutrition, is this something that came to you as a result of some experience, whether that was professional or otherwise? And then I'm going to hold the second question for last. Go ahead and answer that one first. Then I got a second question.
Yeah, at the core, I think actually God dropped me into this space a long time ago, 20 years ago. We can't ignore that. But it was out of a professional experience where I was taking care of patients, and I saw that they were telling me they were falling apart. And I realized that the falling apart was not just the physical body that was in front of me every day with the past medical history, but the problems they were suffering, heart disease, type 2 diabetes, cancer, was eroding their quality of life, relationships, their spiritual life, their financial life, their ability to share the gift that God gave them, being completely eroded by these diseases that I later discovered were not only preventable, but suspendable and reversible when we use the right food. And so I was so inspired in my practice that I had an opportunity to help someone transform their life and reclaim this lost quality of life, and to see them blossom again, to see bright eyes and vibrant lives before me again, that I started using my prescription pad to write breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And literally, I saw miracles in my practice that transformed the way that I saw patient care and thought about healthcare. And it even transformed my staff as they saw patients getting better for the first time and being inspired to change their own lives.
Yeah. As you're talking, I'm thinking about some words that have become increasingly valuable to me as I not only live, but also age, and really reflect on this whole notion of how what we eat becomes who we are. And there's so much truth and merit and validity to that. You can't deny it. It's the absolute truth. And as you're talking, I'm thinking about how disinterested I was at one time in this whole space. Sort of like life goes on, I'm going to do what I need to do. I know I'm going to be mindful about certain kinds of things, but there can't possibly be a better alternative to the choices that I'm making, because I sit down and eat and I feel pretty good after I eat. And, even in those instances when I might overeat and don't feel too good, I chalk it up to experience and keep it moving and hope it doesn't happen again. But I will sit down and eat what I want. And I'm telling myself in my mind, this is years ago, I'm telling myself, you can't possibly have, good tasting, nutritional food prepared in a way that attracts me to it and actually improves the quality of my life. So what is that conversation like for you? Where does it begin with your patients? And how do you somehow create buy-in for something that is so critical and essential to their lives?
Yeah, that is the critical question, right? It's not just the science, but what makes it meaningful for that person to think about making a change, because dietary change is You know, it's not easy, and people hold that so close, just like religion and politics. You know, sometimes food is more powerful than religion and politics. You know, you talk about anything, you know, politically, but don't take away my cheese. You know, it's the right question. What I try to do is find some place of common ground that's really meaningful for them, and to help tie in their quality of life to their lifestyle change. So that it's not being necessarily always driven by fear of having a heart attack, but it's really being driven more by a passion to understand that the food transforms the way that you feel today, changes the way that you think and have mental clarity. It changes your mood. It changes your immune system to fight infections and prevent infections. It changes your body's ability to heal. It takes away pain very quickly. So you live without some of those aches and pains. You wake up in the morning and you're vibrantly alive, ready for the day, ready to go do everything that God's put on your agenda. And I want them to see that, you know, this is an opportunity to step into being vibrantly fully alive, maybe for the first time in a long time. And one of the ways that I do that too, Kenny, is to tell a story. I found that I can give people 30 minutes of science, but a 3-minute story about somebody like themselves that changed their life is more impactful and gets quicker buy-in than the science. The science is supportive, but telling that story is really, really important.
Yeah, storytelling is priceless across the spectrum of our lives. Dr. Batiste, I want to ask you this question because I know you are absolutely fired up about this conference, and you can't wait for it to happen, as many of us who are supporting it, want to be a part of it, and have various roles to play feel the same way. What do you hope people who make this investment of time and money and resources, what do you hope that they'll walk away from this experience with?
Yeah, you know, I mean, I really want them to walk away really refined and fire, right? Just the fire of the passion around those, from those who are in attendance, to really come out with actionable items that they can take back, that they can do. Right. And so we oftentimes think of transformation as this big, glorious idea that has to be masterful. It doesn't. It can be very simplistic in our approach. But what it takes passion, it takes purpose, it takes commitment. And once you have those things, which I'm hoping that people will leave with, they'll leave with they'll get this osmosis of passion if they don't already have it coming. They will have a redefined purpose in what their intent is, in order to really deliver care with love, right? So we talk about whether it's with empathy and really putting yourselves in others' places, whether irrespective of how they look, irrespective of their gender, that we are looking to put ourselves and make sure that everyone has an opportunity to achieve this thing called health. And then the next thing is that you're committed to it. You commit whatever you can commit to. You may say, I can't commit to doing something 5 days a week, but I can commit to it twice a month. That's good. Just commit, dig in and get in there. And I think that once you see that passion becomes infectious and it takes on a life of its own. And I believe that coming out of this, we can make a groundswell that can begin the process of transformation inside of communities across the United States. And that's really what our goal is.
Yeah, not that Dr. Batiste and Dr. Stoll doesn't like this, Danette. But you and I really like networking. We like to get in the mix. We like meeting people and talking to people and having a good time. And I'll say getting the base all fired up. When you think about this conference, I'm certain there are going to be networking opportunities where people can kind of come into this space to not just learn, but also maybe walk away with a new best friend of sorts, somebody who will have information for them, somebody who might become an accountability partner, but somebody who they can maximize their investment in this experience and space. Am I in the right space as far as my thinking on that?
You are in the right space. And one of the things that we were intentional about, even with some of our sponsors and getting scholarships available to specifically students of those universities that I mentioned earlier, so that, you know, they can also come in and have the opportunity to learn from some of these giants in the industries so that they can get the basis to become those giants in the future. And so we are going to have lots of opportunities for people to network with, with like-minded individuals, as well as to be able to have the opportunity to cultivate relationships that will go into, you know, future conferences, because this is the inaugural conference, but it will not be the last. And so this is a conference that we are planning to do every year, and, you know, and grow with each time. And so those people, as they make those best friends, they know where they're going to be next year at this time.
Yeah, that sounds wonderful. And another reason why people should be excited about this, Dr. Stoll, I have heard a vicious rumor, and I want you to either confirm this rumor or turn it down for what it needs to be. I heard that when people walk away from this experience, not only will you have satisfied their minds, but you will also have satisfied their palates, that they're going to have some of the most extraordinary meals that might be available during this space of time, during this conference. Is there any truth to that rumor?
Kenny, you were right. There is a lot of truth to that rumor. And it is a good one. We believe in the power of community around food. And for years at our Planned Nutrition Project conferences, we served 3 meals a day, because when we thought about the concept of a conference, you know, it's the information is important, but what's more important, as you just said, is the network, you know, the connecting with people and the conversations that happen and the sharing of information and the collaboration that follows. And so we wanted people to come and have this opportunity to sit around the table and enjoy absolutely delicious meals. But we also wanted people to experience that healthy food can be more delicious than the Western diet, and just have the pleasure of sitting down and enjoying a meal that is tantalizing to the taste buds and nourishing to the body.
Yeah. Hey, listen, guys, I'm looking at the time here, and there's so much I want to talk about. I just want to throw this out, and I'll kind of follow up on email. But if I can get you all back one more time before the conference on the March 10th show, which is just a couple of weeks before the conference, I'd love to get you all back, because there's still so many things I need to ask you, still so many things that I want people to know about. And I've got about 4 minutes to get in what I have left. I want to let people know about where the conference is happening and what they can do in order to prepare adequately for this. Who wants to take that on?
Danette, why don't you take
Sure,
that?
I'll go ahead and take that. So you can go to www.thehelpconference.org, and you can register for the conference. It will be taking place at the Marriott Space and Rocket Center on March 24th through the 26th. It will start with a reception that Sunday, and then it will close out on that Tuesday around the lunchtime period. And so that is where they can get information on the conference. Registration is still open. There's still early bird registration available. And we're just really excited to meet them, to see them, and to have them come and take part in this amazing conference that we're bringing to Huntsville, Alabama.
So Dr. Stoll, you mentioned storytelling. I'm going to tell a quick story that about 17 years ago, I walked away from beef and chicken. I had never eaten pork before, so I felt I was doing pretty good as far as that was concerned. I landed in the space of being a pescatarian, which I am technically today, because I have a piece of salmon every now and then, but really limited. But I am absolutely inspired and motivated to, number one, become a full vegetarian, and number two, to ultimately become a vegan. And the best evidence of that for myself is me. I mean, I look at me and I look at how healthy I feel and how great I look.
It's true.
And I am inspired to do everything I can in order to help myself. I mean, genetics is going to be what it is, and environment is going to be what it's going to be. But the opportunity that we have to attend these kinds of experiences and literally, as I said earlier, experience transformation in our lives that will take us to a level that we never even imagined is really a phenomenal thing. Dr. Batiste, I'm going to give you one final statement. I'm going to give each of you a closing statement for about a minute.
Yeah, what I'll say, besides saying thank you for having us on, and would love to be back again March 10th to kind of recap some things, what I'll tell people is that for many of you out there, your DNA is not your destiny. What you're going to learn at this conference is you're going to learn the science behind why your DNA is not your destiny, why you have been built, you've been created, wonderfully and beautifully made to live a vibrant life. And that's what it's about. And so we want to nourish and take care of our greatest treasure. And we have to live a life of purpose. And part of living that life of purpose is now giving back in the community. And we want to talk about how we can do that from pillars in the community to transform our lives.
Danette, 1 minute.
Yeah, we're going to have some great guests, some great people, the opportunity to network, the opportunity to come shoulder to shoulder with these giants in the industry. And so, I encourage everyone to take advantage of attending the conference for those reasons, but also that you can learn, you can be educated. And if you are in the health or medical field, you will also be able to get continuing medical education training and credits. So, what you learn there can be applied to your life.
And finally, Dr. Stoll.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you again for having us, Kenny. Looking forward to being back on March 10th. Maya Angelou said, I did then what I knew how to do, which is what all of us have done in healthcare and how we've chosen to eat. But now that I know better, I do better. And that's our intention with this conference, to help people understand how to know better and how to do better. And our real hope is that we can reach into these communities where they just don't know, they've never learned how to eat and the power of eating. And as you said, the transformational feeling that it brings in your life, and teach them to do better.
Yeah, absolutely beautiful. Danette, one more time, that website.
It is www.thehealthconference.org.
Yeah, real simple. Thehealthconference.org. And another thing I want people to do is share that link, folks. Let other people who may not be watching today, who might be interested in these conversations, share that link so that they can know. Don't hoard all that great information for yourself. You might even decide it's not for me. Maybe it's for someone else. Please share that information so that someone else can benefit from this great information that's been shared today. Dr. Columbus Batiste, Danette Batiste, Dr. Scott Stoll, thank you all. And I look forward to our next conversation in just a couple of weeks.
Okay, thank you. Have a blessed day.
All right.
All right. Enjoy the rest of the day. What an awesome conversation, folks. If you're not inspired and fired up about the HELP conference, I don't know what's wrong with you. We're going to have to send out some, we're going to have to do a 911 call and check on your pulse and other kinds of things that might not be functioning properly. You should be fired up and excited and ready to go as a consequence of this conference that's coming right here to this community. I see a lot of you all the time. You talk to me about, you heard the show. You're interested in these kinds of topics, so take advantage of closing the loop and then being a part of this very, very important dialogue and conversation. The beat goes on, folks. I've got more to talk about today, and we got a bonus cut on the back end of my next conversation, which I hope that you'll enjoy. I'll be back in just a moment. I'm Kenny Anderson at Second Chance. I hope that you're having an amazing afternoon.
Ooh, yeah. Even when the sun comes up, or when day turns to night, when the raindrops fall out, everything's gonna be alright. Though life is crazy, or as good as it can be, in the midst of adversity, God's been good to me. Oh, surely good to
Come unto me, ye heavy laden, and I will give you rest. He says you try to solve your problems, yes, give it your best. But my child, you must realize where your strength lies. It's not in you. It's from above. Thank you for your love. God God, you're so good to me. Whoa. He's so true and he's so kind and protective, yeah.
So good to me. So lift your arms to the from whence your help cometh.
It cometh from above. Know that you are under his care, and he'll be right there to give you
Whatever you need, yeah, yeah.
He is so good to me.
Oh, thank you, Jesus.
Oh Lord,
You heard my cry.
yes you did.
And you pitied every groan. Hallelujah. Thank you, Jesus.
He woke me up this morning and started me on my way.
Oh, thank you, Jesus.
And let me see the sun shine.
Good to me.
Good to me.
God is good.
God is good.
Sing it.
In the midnight hour,
When I need some power.
I get down on my knees and
Yes,
pray.
I do.
And when the Lord is done fixing my situation, everything is okay.
So I'm standing right here to encourage you.
Yes, I am.
'Cause there ain't no limit to what the Lord can do.
No.
Good to me.
Hello.
Is Joey home?
Joey, the door.
Joseph.
Yeah.
Hello, son. I'm Dean Rubin from college. I'm here to invite you to join us this fall.
Me?
Hmm?
Give me a day.
Well, we've reviewed your application.
Give me an E.
No, wait. Right, you didn't actually fill out an application.
I didn't think I had to.
You know what? That's fine. Because your algebra grade certainly... No? Wait, you didn't actually take...
Well, no one told me I was supposed to.
Whatever. You really want to go to college, and we really want to have you.
Joey, out of bed.
Hey, wake up. You can't dream your way into college. There are actual steps you need to take. For all the steps, visit knowhowtogo.org. Brought to you by the American Council on Education, Lumina Foundation for Education, and the Ad Council.
Transforming lives.
Transforming lives.
You're listening to Second Chance with Kenneth Anderson.
Welcome back to the broadcast. What an awesome conversation we had this afternoon with Dr. Columbus Batiste, Danette Batiste, and Dr. Scott Stoll about the big help conference that's coming up right here in Huntsville, March 24th through the 26th. You don't want to miss it. We'll post some information with the link in it in the chat this afternoon so that you can make sure you take full advantage of that. And I hope that you will absolutely commit yourself to doing that. My next guest is also new to the broadcast, so we welcome him for the very first time, but hopefully it won't be the last time to the broadcast. Cheon Braithwaite is a best-selling author, motivational speaker. Excuse me, I said I'm sure he's motivated too. Financial literacy expert and sports enthusiast. He was born into an athletic family from Guyana, South America, with a father that played professional basketball with elite talent, such as none other than my man, Patrick Ewing, Go Knicks, and a mother who was a track and field champion that used that competitive drive to move to America and get a doctorate in accounting. Now, since he has combined his financial education and personal experiences to fill a void prevalent in sports today, owning the professional basketball team in Huntsville, Alabama, the Rocket City Flight, helps fill that void. We welcome to the broadcast the owner of the Rocket City Flight, none other than Brother Cheon Braithwaite. What's going on, bruh?
Hey, man, making sure every day above ground is a good one. How are you doing over there, Kenny?
Well, you can say that one more time for both of us, because every day above ground is a good one, especially a day that we can be doing something positive and productive. I'm getting a little blowback. I don't know if there's something happening on the sound side over there. We might have to put you on mute while you're listening and not talking. That way we might be able to kill that blowback, which I'm still hearing for some reason. I'm not sure why. But let's go ahead and you mute when you're not talking. That way, that did it right there. I don't hear myself anymore. I keep hearing myself blowing back. Cheon, it's great to have you here, and I've been looking forward to this conversation for a minute because I'm a big sports fan, and I'm always proud and celebrating the success of others who are not just in this space, which we're going to talk about, but just who are living out their dreams as entrepreneurs. And that's exactly what you're bringing to the table today. So welcome to the broadcast.
Hey, thank you for having me. I'm excited to be able to be here and talk more about what we're trying to do in the community. As a former Oakwoodite, I'm excited to be able to share that community, and be able to get the message out there.
Well, listen, I was just about to say that you, Anissa, you may want to help with that too. I was just about to say that you are a native son, and it was very interesting when you came to my office a few weeks ago because we immediately started connecting the dots. It wasn't just the Oakwood thing, but it was also the fact that I knew your parents, and once again, my condolences on the loss of your mom recently. But just, people who were iconic in the Oakwood community. And then, of course, you kind of walked me back a little bit talking about your journey in this space here at Oakwood University, college, campus, academy, et cetera, et cetera. And it was just an amazing fellowship. And it was almost like one of those experiences where you meet somebody, you kind of think you're meeting them for the first time, but you've really been around them forever, but you're just now making a connection. That was an extraordinary experience for me.
For me as well. And quite honestly, just after that conversation, we've been able to develop such a stronger relationship with Oakwood. We're going to be playing all of our home games for the season on Oakwood's campus. I am actually currently in the academy for Oakwood Adventist Academy. We're having our training camp going on right behind me. So We're actually getting the things rocking and rolling. Really excited.
That is super. That is absolutely amazing. And I'm so honored and happy to hear that. Now, you got to tell me, first of all, does the ownership of this team come most from your athletic background with your parents and perhaps yourself, or does it come more from your entrepreneurship / financial literacy background, or perhaps a combination of both? Let's kind of start there, and then we'll kind of walk up to the actual notion of owning this particular team.
Quite honestly, it's a combination of both. So I did play sports growing up in my life, played at Oakwood, did a redshirt year at the university as well. So I've been around the sports my entire life. But also having a degree myself in accounting, growing up in my family that is more focused on the numbers, I noticed the issues that were happening with athletes once they retired from professional basketball leagues. As of right now, the numbers say around 70 to 80% of NBA and NFL athletes within 3 to 5 years of retirement are financially unstable. So that really opened my eyes to the opportunity to be able to help guys that look like us to be able to put a little more foundation to their life with the financial stability. So it was a little bit of a combination of both when it comes to financial literacy as well as my love for sports that brought this opportunity together.
So Huntsville has tested the market for professional basketball before, and I'm curious to know what attracted you to this market? How did you land in this market? And then tell us a little something about the league and the Rocket City Flight.
Yeah, so being, like you're saying, a native son, right? I actually am from Huntsville. I was born here. I went to Oakwood University. I went to the Child Development Lab that is actually located on Oakwood's campus. So I'm Oakwood through and through. With that, I always was looking for an opportunity to be able to help not only add a platform for the city, but also bring more attention towards the city as well. So that's part of the reason what got me here to the market is really the opportunity that being a part of the TBL provides when we bring this to a beautiful city like Huntsville. So that started me off on that journey. And then seeing what Huntsville had tried with other basketball teams helped me to adjust what we would be doing when we're coming to market. And one of the main things we're doing is, quite honestly, engaging with the community. Part of the reason why we're playing here at Oakwood University's campus to make sure that we have a direct way to engage with the community in a myriad of assets, in a myriad of ways. So we'll not only be playing our basketball games here, we're planning to do about 50 events annually where we're directly engaging with the community that will be non-basketball related events. So that's going to be our mission, our way to differentiate ourselves when it comes to the basketball market is we want to be a part of the community.
So there's something about what you just said that really was the linchpin for me. And I was already sold on what you were doing, but this really got me excited because if you know me, you know that's where my heart is. Community outreach, community engagement. The value of something to me is never really fully realized or recognized when the only benefit comes to the people in this particular space in which the thing is going on, the activities happening, or the most direct people are being impacted by that. And that goes for everything. That's faith communities, that's academic institutions. You know, if you don't have relevance in your community in which you're doing business and operating, then you really are not maximizing your efficiency. So when you started telling me that I'm focusing on at least 50 activities, and this could be just a cross section of things that actually allows the team and the organization to be not just a part of the community in terms of the business, but good neighbors as well. That really got me excited. So I hope you talk a little bit more about that, maybe some of the things you're thinking about and some of the ways that people can reach out to you and maybe explore some things, because I know you and I are going to do a little bit more of that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Because these 50 events are not going to just be events that we're putting on. We're going to be looking for different events that the communities already have planned, that are already scheduled. And we'll be finding ways that we can join that and maybe add some more value to those events as well. So for those that are really looking to contact us, you can always shoot us an email or you'll be able to jump onto the website. We'll have a space where you can directly contact us there. But we're looking for a lot of different events and activations where we can directly engage with the community to show the benefits that we have to offer.
All right. And give us that information about how people can contact, because somebody's really excited now. They want to reach out to you right now.
Yeah. So the company that actually runs the organization is called Rocket City Entertainment. So if you want to shoot us an email, you can email us at info@rocketcityent.com. That's short for entertainment. And we'll be looking to get back to you as soon as possible. And then as well, we're going to have a website where you can check out all the information there. That'll fall right in the same tab. So we'll have two. One will be rocketcityflight.com. The other will be rocketcityent.com/Rocket City Flight. That way you'll be able to buy as much merchandise or team tickets and support us in any other ways.
So talk to me a little bit about the league itself and the team. How does this work? Who makes up the team? Where do these individuals come from? What relationship do you have, if any, to other basketball leagues? Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so the Basketball League is a league that was created about 6 to 7 years ago by a former NBA player, David Magley, and his wife, Evelyn Magley, who actually comes from the African-American community. So their mission was to be able to help serve underserved communities, with guys who have maybe fallen between the cracks and haven't been able to get the opportunity to really show the skill sets that they have. So one of the main missions of the TBL, it's a FIBA Series Pro A League. A lot of people have heard of the name FIBA, but we're actually the only international league that's here in America that helps get guys everywhere else. So the mission of the TBL is to help guys that have, let's say, maybe not got the exposure that they were looking for, to not only be able to get to the NBA and G League, but also to be able to get overseas and be able to help them get international contracts as well. So we like to call ourselves an exposure platform to be able to help people get to the dreams that they're looking towards.
I would also imagine, going back to something you said earlier, that there's another level of this, at least, that this is really a long-term investment in these individuals' lives, that it's not just seeing them as a commodity who can put up points every night or bring a championship to the city, but it's also the thinking even in a moment about what happens on the other side of the game, because there's a life after the game. At least we want it to be. And we want that quality of life to be a good quality of life. So talk a little bit more about that aspect of your work as an owner in nurturing and cultivating that type of experience.
Yeah, absolutely. Because maybe for other owners, it's not as important. But for me, you spoke that I was able to write a book that became a bestseller. It's actually entitled Post-Game Profits. So my personal mission is to help these guys have the understanding necessary to solidify themselves after the game. And that's one of the things that I talk with them about consistently, not only about the ways that they can be able to secure themselves financially through our team, but also once their life is moved on to another career, how to use the skill sets that they've learned within the basketball sport that can translate to other careers and skill sets, whether it be discipline, commitment, integrity. These are skill sets that are transferable, and you can actually be able to develop them on the court, and they'll really help you off the court.
Yeah, my good friend Tony McGinnis wrote a book called The Game is Deep, and talks about his post-basketball experience. You wrote a book, of course, Post-Game Profits, and I think it's so important, and I'm sure you will probably confirm this for me, but I want to hear from you, that the authentic voice that you bring to this kind of a conversation is something that other athletes would value, because you're not just somebody on the outside of the experience, you're inside the experience. And you not only come to the game with the athletic abilities, but you also have the financial legitimacy as well. So I imagine that there's a more authentic voice that comes from being able to write a book like this and then share it with other athletes. True?
Absolutely. That was my mission, honestly. I was hoping to be able to give them a voice that sounds a little more familiar, right? I'm not too far from them when it comes to age, but they also see that we have similarities when it comes to skill sets. So they can find ways to resonate with the ways that we communicate with each other. And I found that that's been almost as valuable as the words itself. Just the fact that they have somebody that's on a level playing field, being able to communicate with them different information that they might not have been able to be shared with yet.
Yeah, you know, I was last week's program, we were talking about reflecting on the Super Bowl and also talking about the NBA All-Star game ahead of the NBA All-Star game, which is bananas. The final score was 200 plus to 180 something, and it was like a scorer's dream, scorer's paradise. You just want people just seeing brothers throwing up and just shooting and just tossing and pitching. And I mean, it was just an amazing experience. I think just the energy that it created. And to me, a lot of people don't like that style of the game. They kind of talk about how they want more from the All-Star game. But really, to me, that game the other night was special to me for a lot of reasons, because I think in my own mind that as a fan of the game, there's sometimes that I like to see variations of the sports in terms of the pure athleticism of the players that you don't get to see because the game is played really tight sometimes in terms of structure and strategy and stuff like that. What are your general thoughts about the All-Star game, the NBA All-Star game, and what it provides for us in terms of entertainment?
Well, that's exactly what it is. Quite honestly, it is entertainment. So I think this is the time where they really use that word and explode it as far as they can. And we see that with the entire weekend, whether it's the dunk contest or the three-point contest. We can see that they expanded the three-point contest a little bit to have a version with Stephen Curry versus Sabrina Ionescu to try and find more ways to get fan engagement, right, and entertain us in a lot of ways possible. So I think that's what's happening is they are trying to find and play with things to be able to make us as entertained as possible. Do we all wish that maybe sometimes they add a little defense in there? Of course, that's a part of the game as well. But but I'm glad that we get to see them do things that we might not be able to see them do in a typical game atmosphere, right? The fact that Damian Lillard was able to shoot a shot from half court, that's something we'll never see in a typical game. So I'm glad that we're able to see their skill set in a much different light. Maybe soon we can find a balance to be able to get a little bit of the competition as well as a little bit of the skill set. But I know that's something that they're working on consistently.
Yeah, the Major League Baseball folks, of course, that's my favorite sport. The Major League Baseball folks went to creating seriousness in the All-Star game by assigning home field advantage to the winner. And so, it became a little bit more important to win the game and things like that. People a little more motivated to play their A game. So, maybe we'll see that in basketball, but maybe that's not for basketball. I don't know. And you're going to have purists on one side saying one thing. You're going to have other people acknowledging the incredible entertainment value of the NBA. Because like you said, that NBA, WNBA shoot-off was brilliant because you had many thousands and perhaps millions more people watching just for that one element alone who now see things, discover things, want to be a part of things. It was brilliant to add that to the table. And I would imagine that as you get excited about the kickoff of this thing, guys are practicing right behind you right now. This is really, really cool that this is happening. There has to be, though, and we haven't talked about this a lot. You've alluded to this. There has to be a tremendous point of satisfaction as an owner in this space. And I want you to talk to us just for a moment about what that means. Most of us come to the table as fans or critics or observers, or sometimes we're well-wishers and sometimes we're wannabes. But you're an owner of a professional basketball team. Talk to me about the perspective you have as an owner.
Yeah, so really good question because I realized that it has to be something that's a little different, right? For anybody that watches the sport, I think we're all fans of the game, right? We're all somebody that wants to see the most entertaining product possible, right? So I always will have that part that comes in to want to make its own decisions, right? But the beauty of it is that the basis of our organization is we're not a basketball team. We're a business that happens to play basketball. So as our foundation, we're looking to be able to use that business acumen to help the community in as many ways as possible. So my mindset is always trying to give the most engaging, productive, as well as helpful product as possible. And that we provide help by providing the entertainment that people are looking for when they need to take a break from the situations and the stresses of life. We want to be able to provide that entertaining factor where you can relax and just enjoy yourself for a couple hours. But we also want to be able to give you actual value. But what we wanted to make sure is that we're providing value to you. That's what my mindset comes from as an owner, is looking at the different ways that we can actually provide value to you, whether that be entertainment on the court or actually coming to you off the court and providing different things that are beneficial, whether it be financial literacy, maybe a little encouragement, possibly some inspiration. But we're looking to be that entertaining factor that can actually be valuable off the court.
What other teams are in the league? Where will they be coming from?
So there's actually 38 teams in the league. So there's teams in New York, like someplace you're familiar with. There's teams in California. I'll actually be announcing a team that will be in Vegas very soon. So we're actually all across the nation, and we'll be expanding to about 45 teams next season.
It all sounds so very exciting and so very interesting, and I'm so excited to know what's going to be happening here. There's one other tangible or perhaps an intangible benefit of the Oakwood University space. There'll be people who will experience Oakwood for the first time as a consequence of this. That has to be kind of exciting also to you.
Absolutely. That was one of our missions, is to find ways, as you can see, I am an Oakwood alumni, and I represent proudly everywhere that I go. So I'm always looking for ways to be able to help people understand the beauty that happens right here on this campus. Me being born here and growing up in it, I get a firsthand view. But there's so many people that are in the Huntsville area and quite honestly, in the nation, don't understand the great things that come from this campus and that can happen just by being on the grounds. So being able to provide an opportunity for people to be able to come in and experience for themselves firsthand, and as you said, a lot for the first time, we're really excited to be able to provide that.
Well, the Rocket City Flight will just be one more additional gem in the crown that's known as Huntsville, Alabama. We know that it's going to be an exciting entrance into the world of sports here in our community, and we're definitely looking forward to it. When can people anticipate play beginning, and how can they get more information about that?
Yeah, so they can check out either of the websites, whether it's rocketcityflight.com or Rocket City ENT, which is short for entertainment.com/Rocket City Flight, to be able to get a little more information. And we're on social media platforms as well, such as Instagram, and you'll be able to get updated with information there as well. We are actually going to have our first home game March 7th. We're actually putting together a preseason game next weekend entitled the Mayor's Cup. And we're looking to invite as many people that want to be able to get involved with that. We're going to be playing the St. Louis Griffins. We're inviting their mayor from the city of Wellston out to be able to commemorate him at the game. So we're looking to do as many things as we can to be able to provide an entertaining, engaging show for the city of Huntsville.
That is super and so exciting. And Cheon, I'm glad that you've had a chance to come and share this with us. As I said to several other my guests today, this should not be the last time as you get this thing up and running. Perhaps again we'll be able to talk to one of the CEO, perhaps the founder. Maybe we'll get a chance to talk to some of your star players, or maybe not so star players. I mean, everybody show everybody some love, but just having some other opportunities, I think, to share your vision, because this really is more than the game itself, and that's the thing that again impresses me so much about what you're doing and what you're bringing to the table. So much of what the result of something is comes from the leader's vision, and I think you have a tremendous vision for what this whole experience is all about, and so we bless you and we pray great success over your life as it relates to this experience.
I can't thank you enough for those great well wishes and actually having me on the show to be able to talk a little bit about it. Whenever you'd like to have me back, I will be open. We definitely will be able to have some things prepared for you so you can come enjoy this experience firsthand and be able to talk more about it whenever you'd like. So I'm sure we'll be in contact, and I look forward to being back on the show.
Absolutely. It's going to happen. It's just a matter of time, and we'll let the audience know it's going to happen as well. Cheon Braithwaite, thank you for being here today with us. We really appreciate you showing up and being able to lend your expertise to the conversation. Again, Cheon is a best-selling author, motivational speaker, financial literacy expert, and sports enthusiast who also happens to own the professional basketball team, the Rocket City Flight, who are going to be playing their home games right here in Huntsville, Alabama, at the great Oakwood University. Very excited about that, brother. Have a great rest of the day, and we'll talk soon.
Thank you. Have a great rest of your day, and blessings to your audience.
Thank you. We appreciate that. Folks, I tell you, the beat just goes on, and I've got one more guest today, my bonus guest for today. I'm so happy that she's taking some time out to be with us this afternoon, and we're going to bring her in just a few moments to find out what's happening in her world. It's Second Chance. I'm Kenny Anderson. I hope you're having a fantastic and amazing afternoon.
Save a place for me. Save a space for me in your heart.
Every year, the United Negro College Fund helps thousands of students go to college. But for everyone we help, there's one we can't. Not without the funds.
Save a place for me.
Please support the United Negro College Fund. A mind is a terrible thing to waste. Call 1-800-332-UNCF.
A message from the Ad Council.
Transforming lives.
Transforming lives.
You're listening to Second Chance with Kenneth Anderson.
Welcome back to the broadcast. I want to thank Cheon Braithwaite, my bro, for coming on this afternoon. The owner of the Rocket City Flight. So pro basketball is coming back to Huntsville, and I'm just happy to be able to hear all the great things that are happening, including that super duper dope community engagement component that they're going to be a part of and making this possible. And then playing at one of my alma maters, Oakwood University. That's really exciting to hear that. We've got a little bonus cut today, folks. As I said, that the beat keeps going on and on because we have so much great information to share. We try to get as much in as possible from one week to the next. This afternoon, I'm delighted and privileged to share with you that I have one more guest and one more conversation this afternoon. My guest is Tracy Cheavious. She is a prominent professional based in the greater Birmingham, Alabama area. With a demonstrated history of achievement, Tracy has made significant contributions within the field of healthcare and pharmaceuticals. Tracy's been involved in spearheading notable projects, exemplifying excellence and leadership within the industry. Additionally, she's been an advocate for some things I'm really interested in, and that's diversity and inclusion and the enhancement of Black scientists, showcasing a commitment to fostering a more inclusive and equitable environment within the STEM fields. It is my privilege to welcome to the Second Chance platform, for the first and definitely not the last time, Tracy Cheavious. What's going on, Tracy?
Hello, Kenny. Thank you for having me. It is such a pleasure to be on the show today. Thank you.
It's great to have you, and it's great to see you. It's been a while since I've had a chance to really see you and talk to you, but I know that you're moving and shaking and making things happen. And I'm so glad to be able to talk about the work that you're doing in this specific space, because this is something that I don't know that we talk enough about. And that's opportunities for women to benefit from the educational experiences that are being offered and developed in some very innovative spaces as it relates to areas that matter. And we're talking about STEM. They're not the only areas, but they're significant areas. And you're here to talk to us today about a very special initiative. It's called Women in Advanced Manufacturing. It's a pre-apprenticeship program, and I'm just excited to learn more about it. But I don't start with the meat. I always let people drink a little bit of water first before we throw it on them. So, Tracy, talk a little bit about your background. You, as I described, have had a long and successful and productive career in some areas. I met you when you were in pharmaceuticals, and of course, I want to ask you first, how did you move into this space? Was it education? Was it something experientially that was going on? How did you get into this space?
Yeah, I was always really just a very science-driven, young person. I grew up in a community where there wasn't a lot of opportunities like this, but I was fortunate enough to have some mentors in my early education experiences that kind of groomed me for these opportunities. So when I excelled very well in school in the science arenas, it was very obvious to me that was the area that I needed to pursue with my professional career.
Yeah, I like how those academic journeys kind of reveal themselves at times. I had a similar experience that showed me science was not my direction. So I moved into psychology and, did the mind thing and all that good stuff. It's a lot of fun doing it.
Yeah, for sure. Yes.
But listen, in all seriousness, though, one of the things that I'm most interested in the DEI space that I work in and navigate so often is the notion that we talk about gender inequality. We talk about issues of access to programs and educational opportunities for women. And we talk about doing that as early as possible in order to get young girls and women involved in these areas. In just your general observations of these kinds of elements that exist in life, what is your sense? Are we making progress? And this program will help for sure. But do you think generally when you look around and you see you as one of the only, or, if it's a matter of race, gender, what are you seeing on the floor right now as you move and navigate through this space?
Yeah, I definitely think we're getting better, but there's still quite a distance that we have to travel to get to where we really need to be. In my experiences, working in, industrial environments in the pharma world, there's not a lot of women in leadership. There's women who have taken on roles and entry-level opportunities, maybe some women that may have raised through the ranks of management, but not many. And it's not necessarily that women are not interested. It's just that the opportunities are just harder to reach for us, right? They're not really designed for us. But, in my personal career and in my opportunities that I have had in this space, I have started employee resource groups and different avenues to advocate for women to make it easier for us. But to your point, absolutely. WHAM is definitely designed to make sure that women have the education and the skill sets needed to move into these opportunities.
Yeah, and I know the advocacy element speaks a lot to you because, as you just noted and affirmed, that when you have someone speaking on your behalf, somebody who has the sensitivities and awareness, perhaps even a skill set to do that, it really becomes an asset for those who are trying to find a way into those spaces.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, well, that's terrific. And of course, you shared this opportunity with me that is going to be, I think, a game changer for a lot of people. And I wanted to highlight it on this broadcast because we don't know who's listening out there. We don't know who's interested in the opportunities that are being presented, but we need to let people know that they're out there and that there are people moving towards helping to change the game. So talk to me a little bit about this initiative that you've introduced to me and why it has so much value and why we're even talking about it at this moment.
Absolutely. Yeah. So Working for America Institute, in partnership with the City of Birmingham, the YWCA, Lawson State Community College, and the United Steelworkers District 9 and Women of Steel are all partnering together to create this amazing program, this pre-apprenticeship program that is offered beginning this upcoming March for the first cohort. It's a 6-month program. That's all the commitment that you need. And within this 6-month program, you only need to commit 10 hours a week. So you can maintain your day job. You can still have any other activities that you need going on and still be able to be successful in this program.
Yeah.
What really excites me about this program is not only are the partners offering the education piece, but they're also offering wraparound services. So if you're a mother and you have trouble with getting childcare or you need assistance with transportation, all of these services are a part of the program, and we are here to support you and make sure that you are successful.
You know, the Achilles heel, as it might be defined in many instances when you have these kinds of opportunities, are those wraparound services. And that's why, you know, when we were talking at first, I was so excited about the fact that you're really working towards challenging one of those equity areas in life, barriers that exist. You know, we have an opportunity, but people can't get there. We have an opportunity that people can't afford childcare. And so to really place these at the center of this process, I think signals a very significant investment and commitment to the success of the people who might be a part of this program. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's the goal of this program, you know, because we've seen lots of opportunities, as you said, where women will start the program and they're not able to finish, you know, but we are dedicated and committed to ensuring that each student will not only start the program, that they will also be successful and they will enjoy the program as well. So, you know, and then I think the other most important thing about this, and I have to say this, is that, you know, even like myself, I graduated from college with tons of student loans. You walk away from this program with absolutely no debt. And you go right into a apprenticeship program where you would not only continue your education, but you also have a mentor and you will be working in a full career path opportunity. So there's 2 tracks with this program. There's industrial maintenance technician, and there's also a maintenance technologist opportunity as well. So these 2 tracks, both again, are just 6 months, and they will allow you to be able to be hired right after you finish the program. So again, there's no additional training that you need. We have partners already ready to go that are reaching out to us saying, hey, when are the graduates going to be available? Because we're ready to hire them.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I talk a lot about workforce development. I mean, I'm in that conversation at least twice a week somewhere. And many times that conversation is taking place at the community college level. I know a little bit about Lawson State Community College and the great work that they do in the Birmingham area. And I just get excited when I see these collaborative efforts taking place. The word relevance comes to mind because these institutions are in communities for a specific purpose to serve the people there. And when you have something that just clearly makes sense and you work to do everything you can to reduce or eliminate the barriers, it really becomes a win-win for the community. So can you talk a little bit about the notion that you've got these entities on the table working together, trying to make this the most successful experience for the participants? And as you said, within 6 months, it translates into something pragmatic in their lives, a job that can lead to other kinds of opportunities. Talk a little bit about the significance of just the partners working together.
Absolutely. So, each partner, let's start with the city of Birmingham, right? It's in our city's best interest to ensure that the citizens of this city, particularly the citizens that are of minority, have these opportunities, right? So it's a big deal for the city to invest in programs and opportunities like this. And then you have Lawson State Community College, who has a proven track record and have shown and proven themselves in this particular area when educating the community and people of the community that have gone on to have amazing careers. So we have that partner that is providing the education piece. Then you have the YWCA, who also has numerous opportunities for those wraparound services and that level of support that's needed to the community in different specific demographics that they, women that they serve all the time. And they're bringing all of those resources to this program and supporting this program as well. And then the final partner is the United Steelworkers, right? That's the actual community of workers who's definitely growing and looking to support any new applicant to this particular program. And so with all of these partners working together, it's a guaranteed success for our students. Yeah. So again, we try to make sure that we cover all bases when we think about our students and ensuring that they can be successful.
Yeah. Talk about access to the program. What are the basic requirements and how does somebody get connected to this incredible opportunity?
Yeah, so they're very minimal requirements to get into the program. You need to at least be 17 years of age. You should hold a high school diploma or a GED. And you have to be enthusiastic, of course, about working in a hands-on environment. We have a lot of information available on our website. It's workingforamerica.org. You can go to that website and click on programs and look for the program called WAM, Women in Advanced Manufacturing Pre-Apprenticeship. Once you click on that link, it'll automatically take you to a form where you would fill out your name and information, and myself and my team will personally reach out to you and connect with you and answer any questions that you have. We also offer info sessions every week, different times depending on the week. So we want to make it available to everyone. Sometimes it's in the morning, sometimes it's in the evening. But that is a very informal session where you can come in and just be yourself and ask all the questions that you like to ask. Representatives from all of the partners will be there. You'll have someone from the YWCA like myself or one of my colleagues. You'll have someone from Lawson State. You also have some of the potential employers will be there to say, hey, we are really here to support you. This is a real opportunity. We want you to come and join and be a part of this program.
And the cost to the person participating is?
$0. $0.
Listen,
yes,
Tracy, I wouldn't care if you lived in California. We'd be having this conversation today because through the benefit of World Wide Web, people are listening this afternoon all over the place. And here's the reason I wanted Tracy to come on and talk about this today. Number one, the program is about to start. And if you're interested in this, if there's something that we said today that piques your interest, you need to get on that website right now. You need to make that phone call as soon as you possibly can. The second thing, though, there are three things. The second thing is because I'm just 90 minutes away from Birmingham. I mean, that's like something people work in Huntsville who live in Birmingham. So it's like right up the street. You may be in this community right now, kind of floundering around, wondering what your next move is and looking for a great opportunity. You can actually become a part of that experience as a consequence of that. And we hope people will consider that. But this is something you're going to be doing twice a year. Is that right? There's going to be like a spring class and a fall class.
That's correct. Yes. And that fall class is going to begin August the 13th. Yeah. So this is a pilot program. It's a brand new program. However, I don't want to lose sight of the fact that Lawson is well experienced in this area, but it's a pilot program. So we want it to be successful so that we can continue to offer this for other women in the years to come. So please join us and feel free. No question will go unanswered. So we're happy to support anyone and everyone that's interested in the program.
Well, I'm going to take a point of privilege right now and say that I hope that people are out there right now writing the website down, making sure that you have the opportunity to know exactly what this opportunity is, because this is the kind of thing that will result in a high quality, high paying experience for somebody. Absolutely. And the potential to really establish a solid career track of growth and exposure to opportunities that may not have presented themselves in the past. And that's why I'm so excited about this particular opportunity that Tracy is talking about right now. Again, the first class begins when?
March the 7th. So it's coming along very quickly.
Yep.
And it's not too late to register for that class. So
yep.
if you're interested, please don't hesitate to reach out. We'll make sure that we support you and get you in that class.
All right. And they can reach out how?
Right. You can reach out, again, go to that website, workingforamerica.org. Click on that program link, click on WHAM Pre-Apprenticeship, and through that link, it will direct you to give us some information, your name, your email, your phone number, and we will contact you directly. I will most likely be the person or a member of my team. That's how close we are to this program. We're very, very, very intimately involved in recruiting and ensuring that the ladies have everything that they need to be successful.
Yeah, to that point too, Tracy, this whole notion of our success being intimately tied to mentors, people who see our value and understand the opportunities, has to be a critical part of the success of this event. To hear you say that, I just wanted to affirm that, because I think that's so essential. A lot of people that will reach out won't necessarily know how to take that first step, or will be a little bit hesitant, but you can kind of come around people and provide assurances for them that can really make the difference in their success.
Agreed. And that's early on, right? So as mentioned, I myself have gone through entry-level opportunities in the formal world industrial environments. And if it was not for my mentors, I don't think I would have had the success that I've had today.
Yeah.
And not only you have that intimate mentorship up front, but even after you graduate and complete this program, you will be in apprenticeships programs where you will continue to have mentors. You will continue to have people to help guide your career, guide you through your career to ensure that you are getting where you want to be. So this is a program that's, again, not just designed for you to get through this piece, but it's designed for you to be successful. And I have seen many women start at entry-level industrial careers and then work their way up to six-figure paying jobs. So it's a beautiful opportunity. I see it all the time around me. I know people personally that have started, again, at the bottom and really worked their way up and have amazing, amazing careers.
Yeah, you're absolutely right about that. And the advanced manufacturing space is really creating some really phenomenal opportunities for people across our state. And I'm so glad to see the level of investment that's happening, and oftentimes at the community college level, which I think are some of the unsung heroes of our communities. And I'm so glad to hear that Lawson State is one of the central partners in this effort. I am so thrilled to have been able to talk to you about this today. And as I said to several other guests, this will not be the last time, because maybe the next time you come on, you'll be talking about not just a program, but you may be talking about a program participant, or maybe even a program graduate or two. Absolutely. Who will actually give their first person testimonies about the success that they had, and will then ultimately inspire somebody else to be a part of it as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That would definitely be a pleasure to, of course, it's always a pleasure to see you, Kenny, but to bring someone on and have them rave about our program is the dream, right? So I would love to do that here, and maybe we'll have someone that will complete the first session this summer, and we can bring them on before our fall cohort. So
yeah, that would be ideal if that happens, or I should say when that happens. Let's definitely get that not penciled in.
Yeah,
let's put it down and make it happen.
Awesome.
Tracy Cheavious, she is joining us this afternoon as the lead voice in advocating for a very, very, very powerful program that supports women in advanced manufacturing. It's an apprenticeship program that if you've not taken the time to find out about, you need to do so, folks. That contact information or the space to get information, once again, Tracy, is what?
workingforamerica.org. Click on programs, go down to WAM Pre-Apprenticeship, and everything you need to know will be right there.
All right, fantastic. It is really great to talk to you. Great to see you. It's been too long. We've got to definitely, connect at some point.
Of course.
All right, Tracy.
My pleasure.
All right. Have a good afternoon. All right.
Thank you, Kenny. Have a great one.
Thank you. Take care.
Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye. Folks, I tell you, this show today has really set the bar for the rest of the month of March as we get ready to move into that particular space. I'm excited about this initiative. I'm excited about the guests that I've had a chance to talk to today. And I'm going to come back in just a moment and tell you about what you can expect for next week. It's Second Chance. I'm Kenny Anderson. Hope you're having an amazing day.
Perhaps you have some ideas, comments, or suggestions that you would like to share. Or perhaps you'd like to be a guest on the broadcast. We'd love to hear from you. Please feel free to email Kenny Anderson at mxlife@aol.com, or you can like us on the Second Chance Facebook page. That's 2ND Chance. And now, back to more of Second Chance with Kenny Anderson.
What a show today, folks. I tell you, it's been absolutely amazing. The guests that I've had a chance to talk to today started out with Lisa McNair, author, speaker, civil rights activist, and family member of the McNair family, one of the 4 little girls who were killed in the 16th Street bombing in Birmingham in 1963, joined us to talk about her book, Dear Denise, Letters to the Sister I Never Knew. We hope that you'll definitely check that out. Also joining me this afternoon, Catherine Coleman Flowers. She is an internationally recognized environmental activist, MacArthur Genius Grant recipient, author, and also in 2023, one of Time's 100 most influential people in the world, and also was featured on Forbes 50 over 50 list. An honor to have her on the broadcast this afternoon. Dr. Columbus Batiste, Danette Batiste, and Dr. Scott Stoll talking about the big Health Equity and Lifestyle Project Conference, also known as the HELP Conference, coming up on March 24th through the 26th. We also had a chance to talk with owner of a professional basketball team right here in Huntsville, the Rocket City Flight, Cheon Braithwaite, Oakwood graduate from many levels of the Oakwood ecosystem. Just glad to have him here today. And then final, Tracy Cheavious was with us this afternoon. And Tracy shared information about a very important program, Women in Advanced Manufacturing. It's a pre-apprenticeship program that over a 6-month period provides women with an opportunity for some great careers. On next Sunday, it's What's Going On, my social and political roundtable. I hope that you'll join me at that time for perspective and commentary on a lot of different things that are happening in the world. In the meantime, I hope that you have a great rest of the week. Remember, as always, knowledge is better than riches. Have a great afternoon, and we'll talk again soon. Good day.
Thank you for tuning in to Second Chance. We hope that the information that was shared has been a blessing to you and that your life will be enriched as a result of it. We'd love to hear from you, so please send your email comments to Kenneth Anderson at mxlife@aol.com. That's mxlife@aol.com. And check out our Facebook page, 2ND Chance. That's 2ND Chance. In the meantime, have a great week, and we'll talk to you again next week. Good day.